husband knocked up my friend, the one who was caring for him while he was sick, back when I was working abroad, and now there's nobody to look after them as my revenge kicks in. So, earlier this year, my husband, Luke, was diagnosed with a rare form of cystic fibrosis at age 24. Because it was a pre-existing condition, our insurer wouldn't cover him and denied our claim. Treatment is absurdly expensive, and even with help from our parents, we've fallen way behind on the medical bills. To try to fix things, I applied for jobs in Europe. My research showed salaries for my field were higher there. We desperately needed the money, since Luke wasn't well enough to work. So I quit my job, moved overseas, and have been sending half my paycheck home for his treatment. Meanwhile, my childhood best friend promised she'd take care of him. I know it sounds stupid. I trusted her. Maybe it was. But she'd been like a sister my whole life, and she'd never done anything shady. I even introduced her as a distant cousin because we were so close, though she was actually my next-door neighbor when we were kids. Hannah assured me she'd handle everything. There was no way we could afford a nurse on our tight budget. She'd been a bridesmaid at my wedding and had known Luke for years. She always said he was like a brother to her. Luke and I had been together for 4 years, married for 1, but Hannah and I have been inseparable since we were 5. I'm 25 now, so that's 20 years of friendship. And then it all blew up. This week I realized I'd saved enough to fly home for a surprise visit, only to find out that Hannah is pregnant, and they're in love. So now they don't need me anymore, except to keep paying their bills. Between the two of them, they barely have any money. Luke can't work, and Hannah has been studying and doing part-time tutoring. Obviously, they can't keep up the lifestyle they had thanks to me. And the best part? They expect me to maintain this arrangement without even filing for divorce, because it's convenient. They want me to support them so they can fend for themselves, claiming I owe it to my best friend. This all happened 3 days ago, and I still can't believe it. Nobody knows I'm back except those two, and I don't think I'll ever forget seeing them cuddled up together on the couch. When I confronted them about everything, they actually had the nerve to thank me for helping them find true love, and then made all these ridiculous demands. Hannah did most of the talking, trying to hammer into my head that I owe her for all she sacrificed by caring for my husband while I was away. Apparently, it's not her fault she fell in love with him. Well, I wasn't going to take that lying down. I lost it, told them I was filing for divorce, and vowed to make their lives a living hell. That's what I said before I left, but since then they've been texting me non-stop, begging me to remember life, saying it's okay if I don't meet their demands, but please, don't make things harder, especially given Lucky's medical condition and the years of friendship with Hannah. His health is delicate, and he doesn't need this stress. They've been pleading with me to reconsider. The problem is, I don't feel bad about what I'm about to do. I fully intend to follow through. I don't care who's sick or who they did this to for. Right now, I don't care how they end up after everything they did to me. Edit. The sacrifices Hannah keeps mentioning are agreeing to look after my husband while I was away, like I said. She calls it a sacrifice, even though she volunteered and said it would be an honor. Sure, it interfered with her education. She was always exhausted and had to take breaks during tutoring because Lucky always needed something. She couldn't even rest on weekends, which was the only time my in-laws were free to watch him. And yes, maybe that was a sacrifice, but if she wants to be with him as his partner now, she'll have to keep making those sacrifices. Unless now they magically stop being sacrifices. The other sacrifices she brings up are trivial childhood stuff that I can't believe she's dredging up now. For example, I hardly see turning down my high school crush's prom proposal as something I should be grateful for after all this drama. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day. Update 1. I finally reached out to my parents because I was at a total loss, and I couldn't just live in a hotel forever. All the money I'd earned abroad was gone, and I realized I'd not only screwed up my marriage but also left behind my family and friends for a guy who clearly wasn't worth it. It's been a week since I found out, and 2 days ago I showed up at my parents' house unannounced and laid everything out for them. They've promised to help, so now we're meeting with a lawyer. I want that divorce filed ASAP. I just want this over with. Of course, given the circumstances, I'm pretty sure Lucky will try to claim spousal support, but I'm ready to fight it with everything I've got. I don't know if I'll ever get back all the money I poured into this relationship, but I'll do everything I can to make him regret what he did. For a while I could barely accept what happened, but no matter what, I can't unsee that image of them cuddled up on my couch. I guess I was lucky to have a key and catch them in the act. Who knows how much longer they'd have kept this from me. If I hadn't surprised them, I'm certain they'd have milked me for every last cent. Hell, they probably would have felt entitled to it. Whatever the case, it's all ending now. They deserve every bit of what's coming, and honestly, I wouldn't mind something even worse. Update 2. I wish I could post more often, but with everything going on, free time is a luxury. Still, I've got plenty to share from the last 2 weeks. It all kicked off when I filed for divorce and Lucky was served the papers. The second he found out, he and Hannah both doubled down on their begging. I waited until they finally left my parents' house before blocking them. Felt pretty damn satisfying. But of course, that wasn't the end of it. A few days later, Lucky's parents showed up at my folks' place. I'm crashing there now. I left my job, so I'm planning to look for something local. I've got enough savings for me, so income isn't a concern right now. What matters is getting my old life back, far away from Lucky and closer to my family. Anyway, his parents begged me to reconsider. They were so awkward, honestly, they've always been sweet to me, so I didn't want to hurt them. I tried to tell them not to get involved, but then they said if I truly loved and respected Lucky, I'd withdraw the divorce and work things out because that's what they wanted for us. They claimed they had no idea about the romance. Whenever they visited, Lucky and Hannah pretended to be just friends and only ever talked about me. They were apparently so convincing that his parents believed we were devoted to each other. But now that they know the truth, they want me to give him another chance, insisting this fling with Hannah is just a phase. They even said that since he married me, I'm his true love. Super romantic, right? They suggested giving him an ultimatum to ditch Hannah and end the pregnancy so we could fix things. I felt bad for them. After all, their son is seriously ill and they're desperate. But no ultimatum, no pregnancy termination, no way. I promised to think about it just to get them to leave, then swore I'd never open the door if they came back. A couple of days ago they did come back, but my parents and I pretended we weren't home until they finally left a note begging me to call. They don't know what else to do to save their son. Meanwhile, Hannah's parents have been a breeze in comparison. They're 100% on my side. They cut all contact with her the day I showed up at my parents' and spilled everything. They invited her over a few days later, told her the truth in front of me, and when she tried to deny it, they called her out on her lies. Now they've threatened to disinherit her and stop paying her tuition unless she comes home. I love that she's finally getting a financial reality check. She and Lucky have both been riding my dime, and now the tables have turned. With a baby on the way, they're royally screwed, and honestly, I'm here for it. People might call me cruel, but forgive me. I deserve a little joy after everything I sacrificed for people who didn't deserve it. I might even pop open a bottle of champagne. They still haven't responded to the divorce papers, but I know they will soon, and they'll need a lawyer. I doubt they can afford one without my money. All in all, this is pretty satisfying, but I can't wait for it to be over. Revenge is sweet, but I'm ready for some peace and quiet once the dust settles. Update 3. A couple of days have passed since my last update, and I finally heard back from Luke about the divorce papers. I figured he'd fight it, but surprisingly, he accepted all the terms. In our state there's only a 60-day waiting period, so once that's up, I think this will be over for good. That's what my lawyer told me. My lawyer also mentioned that Luke wants to talk to me. I assumed he meant mediation, and I was open to that if it was about the divorce. But my attorney clarified that Luke actually wants to see me in person to clear some things up, not divorce-related. He said if I refuse, at least unblock him so he can text me. I didn't want to do either, because there's nothing he can say that I'd want to hear. So I had my lawyer tell his lawyer to stay away from me, and I thought that was the end of it. But a few hours ago, he showed up at my parents' house anyway. My parents were the ones who heard the doorbell and let me know. Of course, I said I didn't want to see him, that whatever he had to say, he could keep it, because nobody in this house wanted to hear it. After everything he did, I honestly don't think there's anything he could say to make things better. Anything he says will just make me hate him more, and I didn't even think that was possible. Still, I told my parents to tell him to leave, and he refused. He insisted he couldn't leave without talking to me. Then he pulled the sick card, claiming he's not doing well and that the stress of standing outside was hurting him. Funny how he had plenty of energy to sleep with my friend but was suddenly too weak to wait by the door. He started shouting up at my bedroom side of the house, apologizing over and over, especially about how I found out. He said both he and Hannah deeply regret how they handled everything and how they took me for granted. He begged me to speak with him, one last time, and try to work things out, since, he claimed, I'm the reason they even met and fell in love, and they can't not have me mad at them. I don't know what he thought I'd say, but I genuinely thought he'd lost his mind. This isn't a movie. I wasn't about to have some sudden change of heart, wander downstairs, and forgive him while wishing him and Hannah a lifetime of happiness. If that were a movie plot, it'd be the worst rom-com ever made. My blood was boiling listening to him, so I actually went downstairs, but not to talk. He looked relieved when I appeared, like at least I'd come to hear him out. Then I slapped him so hard across the face I thought my hand would sting. Disclaimer. I'm not normally violent, nor do I advocate it, but he needed to learn that he can't hurt the people who love him, walk away, and expect forgiveness. I was so furious I didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to teach him a lesson. Plus, he really seemed like he needed that wake-up call. After the slap, I told him flat out that he wouldn't find forgiveness here, and if he felt the urge to cry about it, he should do it somewhere else, because nobody wanted to see him like that in my house. He looked shocked, like a computer that needed rebooting, and then, a few seconds later, he turned around and left. When I went back inside and told my parents what happened, I thought they'd give me the usual, violence doesn't solve anything, lecture. But my mom actually said I could have slapped him again just to send him on his way. So next time, maybe he'll think twice before showing up and playing the nice guy, because nobody's buying it. Update 4. 2 days have gone by since the slap, and today Luke's parents reached out again. My family and I tried the usual routine, pretending no one's home, but that only works once or twice. They started shouting that they knew we were in, and demanded I come to the door and explain why I slapped their son. I decided it was time to speak up, so I opened the door and told them exactly what I think of them and their son, because I'm so over all of this. I've been polite out of respect for them, but apparently they didn't get the hint. It's not my fault their son is sick. I went above and beyond as his wife, but now he's moved on, and I have zero responsibility to him, emotionally or financially. I don't understand why they're dragging me into this drama, since he clearly doesn't care about everything I did for him, so why should he care about what I don't do now? They should be dealing with their hot nurse, not me. I told them bluntly that I know they came because they realized they can't cover his medical bills on their own. If he'd been healthy and financially independent, they never would have bothered me. If they really, genuinely cared about me, they wouldn't have begged me to forgive him in the first place. They'd have respected my decision to leave. Instead, they're standing there demanding explanations for slapping their son, like he didn't deserve it. Honestly, they should have been the first in line to slap him themselves. I told them that if they're so upset, they can take it up with the police, but I'm not explaining myself to anyone else after what he did to me. If they want to press charges, that's on them, and I couldn't care less what they spend their money on. At that point, it was clear I was done listening, so they called me names and stomped back to their car. After they left, I felt a twinge of guilt, because they really had been kind to me when we were together. But I can't help it, they're blaming me instead of their son, so I don't feel the slightest bit bad about how I treated them. Update 5. It's been 6 weeks since my last post, and the waiting period will be up soon. I'll be officially divorced, and I can't wait. Just thinking about it makes me so happy, because it means I'll be free of all this drama. Another reason I'm happy and posting now is that Luke and Hannah have split. I found out through a mutual friend who's been acting as Luke's divorce lawyer. He forwarded me an email that Luke tried to send me, but couldn't, since I have him blocked. Apparently, even though they truly loved each other, they decided to end things because, thanks to me, neither of their parents would support them. Luke's parents still don't have the means to help, and Hannah's parents made it clear they wouldn't back her either. Since they couldn't stand on their own, needing both emotional and financial support, they chose to go their separate ways. Hannah's still having her baby, and now the poor kid is growing up in a broken home, all because of me. It's ridiculous, and kind of hilarious, how the people who hurt you can turn around and make you out to be the bad guy. I think Luke and Hannah have another problem, too. Luke even mentioned the slap in his email, whining that if our genders had been reversed, everyone would have reacted differently. Apparently it's okay that I slapped a man who was just trying to apologize. I found that pretty funny. I'd slap him no matter who he was. But anyway, the important part is, it's over. I've started a new job in the past few weeks, and I'm diving head first into this new chapter. There's no room here, or in my future, for toxic people. Update 6. You know what's almost laughable? I didn't realize this until I looked it up, but it's true. People with cystic fibrosis can have fertility issues. It's not that my ex is sterile, but it can definitely make getting pregnant harder than usual. That explains why Hannah's baby isn't actually Luke's. All her lies fell apart when Luke got a paternity test. I have no idea why he doubted her, but the results are clear. When I found out, I had to read up on CF infertility. We never planned to have kids, so I never even thought about it. I was only worried about his health at the time. Now I couldn't care less what they're going through. Thanks to Hannah's parents, I learned that she basically got used to living in my old house with Luke, so it didn't bother her to start a relationship behind my back. I know the guy she was seeing, back when we were friends. He was the kind of guy you'd hook up with if you were feeling frisky, but you'd never bring him home to your folks. Hannah's parents aren't helping her either. From what I've heard, that other guy has no intention of stepping up as a dad, and nobody knows how Hannah's going to support her kid. As for Luke, his parents have had to sell their house to keep up with his treatments. That's the end of it. Would I be a bad person if I said maybe they should let him die? I don't actually want him to die, but he sure doesn't deserve anyone sacrificing for him. He'll probably stab someone else in the back down the line, just like he did to me. Maybe then he'll learn. So here's a round of applause for Hannah for ruining her life, and another for Luke for doing the same. They both blew it for absolutely nothing, which, I've got to admit, is wildly impressive.